All right, the president's legal team will return to the Senate floor today after accusing Democrats of using impeachment to keep the president off the 2020 ballot.
Is that the left's true motive? Joining us live to weigh in on all of this is Kansas Congressman Steve Watkins. Congressman, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Jillian. Thanks, Rob.
Before we get into what to expect today and what this is going to do going forward, let's just talk real quick about the new news today, and that is this alleged leak coming out about John Bolton's book. Do you think this is going to have any implications as far as calling witnesses and the argument for that?
I don't. I'm not concerned about what Bolton might have to say. I mean, what the American people realize is that this is all about partisan politics. And, you know, the Democrats didn't like the result of the 2016 election. I've got news for them. They're not going to like the results of the 2020 election. And I'm glad that the president has an outstanding team. In fact, we heard that even from the liberal fake news media, the ones with a shred of journalistic integrity left, were fair enough to admit that they did a fantastic job. And in 2 hours, they basically dismantled the Democrats' case, and honestly, it looked like Patrick Mahomes and what he's going to do to the San Francisco 49ers this Sunday at the Super Bowl. So I couldn't be more pleased. As a guy who spent a long time in conflict environments, I was glad that we saw some information talked about, particularly the Javelin missiles and how President Trump never delayed those at all, that those went through. So it's much better than President Obama's blankets and MREs. And so we saw some new information with the, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Let me ask you, though, I mean, you say you're not worried about John Bolton testifying. You have to admit it, there's probably a better chance that he will testify now. You just need 4 Republicans. Mitt Romney has already said he'll probably vote for witnesses. After this story came out, it seems like there'd be a lot bigger push to get witnesses to testify in this thing.
Well, it's not what the American people want. That's what I'm advocating for. You know, we need to solve problems that are haunting folks on Main Street. We got prescription drug prices that needs overhaul, a porous border. We need an infrastructure bill, and that's what I came to Washington to do. And so that's my focus. You know, we rarely field phone calls about the impeachment trial because people are tired of it. They're ready to switch the channel.
Okay.
Well, let's go ahead and take a listen to a little bit of the president's defense team on Saturday.
They're asking you to remove President Trump from the ballot, that they're here to perpetrate the most massive interference in an election in American history.
So that's a little snippet of what we heard on Saturday. What do you expect to hear today?
Well, you know, honestly, it's, the strategy of the team is to be very succinct. I love it. They're reintroducing some of the basics. Read the transcript. No quid pro quo. Zelensky never felt pressured. Never had an issue with the conversation. And also, what we're hearing a lot is that that funding starts and stops all the time, and that funding was stopped for Afghanistan, Pakistan, South Korea, Central American countries, and so. You know, we're well positioned, and I feel confident about today.
Okay, fair enough. If we do get witnesses, and there is a decent chance that we will at this point, Republican Josh Hawley wants to subpoena a number of pretty interesting people that Republicans would love to hear from, including the whistleblower, also Adam Schiff, and the Bidens right there. What do you make of that?
Well, I hear you, Josh. If we call more witnesses, those are the ones we'd want to hear from, obviously. However, like I mentioned, it's time for the American people to move on. They want to move on. So I see where Senator Hawley's coming from. But again, I go back. You know, I share a border with Josh. He's on Missouri. I'm Kansas. Let's meet in Kansas City. Let's win a Super Bowl and celebrate at the White House.
You seem preoccupied with the Super Bowl.
Excited.
You're ready for the game. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.